Salam and peace to everyone. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm knackered. It's Friday morning. I work a long day on a Thursday. I'm in from morning until evening at work teaching. And I'm knackered. Can you see? I mean, look at the state of me. Last video, I asked you to make dua for me because I was waiting for the results of my first year of my masters. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I'm able to say that I have officially passed my first year. Yay! I'm so relieved. I'm so happy. It's been such a tough year for me and my family. But alhamdulillah, I've been able to push through. So really happy with that. Okay, so today's topic is hijab. Now, I'm just going to start with a disclaimer. I am very aware that this is a touchy subject within the Muslim community as well as outside it, and I know that some people who watch the videos are not Muslims. Before I even start, I want you to know that I'm not trying to disrespect anyone who doesn't wear hijab. I'm only here to be helpful. I'm not here to be critical of anyone else. Because it is a sensitive subject within the Muslim community, I'm just going to speak about myself. Anything positive you can take from the video, I would love if you could take it. I'll start off by saying what my understanding of hijab is. Like, what is hijab? Hijab means to cover. It's not just a head covering, and it is a commandment given by the Almighty, not a man. Okay, both women and men have to practice hijab. Again, not the head covering, but to cover. We both have a dress code. That is obviously different, but we do both have a dress code. Now, my interpretation is you have to cover everything but your hands and your face. But you can go a step further and wear niqab if you feel comfortable with that. I don't believe niqab is mandatory. So that's kind of where I sit with hijab. In terms of how I went about implementing hijab, it was such a long time ago where there was not any social media. And, you know, I was living in a city where there was Muslim communities, but even within that Muslim community, a lot of people in that community weren't wearing hijab. So it was very new, and it was something that I was doing and figuring out myself with other inexperienced people. It was tough, you know. It was really tough at first, and I was probably more worried about what people would think rather than actually putting it on. I had no issues with putting it on. The reason I had no issues is because I did proper research, and hijab just seems logical to me. It just makes sense. And I'm not going to get into that too much. I think this is not something that you can talk about in such a short amount of time in a video. But that's one thing I would definitely say. Like, there has to be research done. You have to understand it. It has to make sense. And that's, for me, the first step. You have to understand the benefits in the dunya and the akhirah. But, you know, I wanted to find a way where I was able to fulfill it, but it made me comfortable. Like, many different countries have hijab, right? And they all have it in their own sort of style, the way you present yourself. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with presenting yourself and even your culture. We are different races in different countries and different cultures for a reason, so that we could recognise each other. So I feel like I went through a period where I really wanted to find that in hijab, where I was able to, you know, create a version of me that was recognisable, appropriately presentable, but recognisable in hijab. And this is kind of what I've come up with. And I don't know if it's working, but this is this is how I feel comfortable. Alhamdulillah, Allah has made it really easy for me to wear hijab. I feel like I've found my identity in it. In terms of actually going out there and implementing it, advice that I would give would be not to overthink it. You know, with hijab and niqab, they were both the same process for me. I wanted to do it really, really badly, but I was worried about what people thought. I stalled it. And then when I actually found the strength to put it on and go outside, I realised that most people don't care. It's only a few bad apples that feel the need to like express their opinion to you even though they don't know you on the street. But most people don't care, and I felt so good going outside wearing it on. And the reason I felt so good is because I wanted to do it, you know, like I understood it. It was important that I achieved that goal, both with hijab and niqab, and once that I did, I've never looked back. If it is really difficult for you, and it is for some sisters, and we shouldn't be criticising them and abusing them for that. It's not easy, and it is something that should be important to us as Muslims, but it's not easy, so we should be supporting the sisters and not labelling them. You know, even like when that whole Dina Torkia thing was going on, yes, I agree she has a responsibility because whether she likes it or not, she represents the Muslim community. However, the abuse that lassie got, absolutely unacceptable, shameful actually. You embarrass yourself when you talk like that. Like, it's not helpful. You abusing the sister is not helpful. You know, you need to support her. That's our duty. That is our duty. We need to support her, you know. Anyway, I don't want to talk about Dina Torkia. If it is really difficult for you, take it one step at a time. Even if it's baby steps. Do something every day that kind of works towards you wearing it. Find yourself in it. If you try it one way, you don't like it, doesn't feel comfortable, try it another way. That is what I did. It took me 14 years to be fully content. Now I don't want to change. I could iron it a little better. But I definitely don't want to change. Find yourself in it. Let it become a part of your identity. Don't overthink it as well. Sometimes what you think is going to happen doesn't happen like that. If you're not really sure on how to wear one, there is so many videos on YouTube that can help you put on even the most basic of hijabs. Although my hijab and niqab is very individual, it is very simple and plain. For me, that's the way it should be, so don't worry about making it fancy. Just if you are looking to put it on but you're not sure, like, go on YouTube and find some very simple tutorials. You know, back in the day, accessing hijabs was so difficult. We couldn't really buy things online back then. There wasn't social media that had all sorts of advertisements. So if you don't know where to buy hijab, you can find them online. I'm just so happy to be able to say that. Like, it doesn't really matter where you are, you'll be able to find some sort of headscarf or a abaya. Like, we could not access these in Glasgow at all back in the day. So it was really nice to be able to, like, it's really nice for this video not to be too detailed in that sense, because everything is so accessible now. But another thing, and I'll finish with this, another thing in terms of hijab and, you know, like trying to implement it, find a friend who's wearing it and ask them for support. Alhamdulillah, when I put on hijab, I was putting it on with my crazy sister-in-law, and if you don't know about that story, you have to check it out. You have to check that out. I will leave a link down below. I will leave both my stories. I'll leave my hijab story and I'll leave my niqab story. The hijab story is one to watch if you haven't watched it already. Shameful. Sorry, Hannah. But finding support, friends, family, or even a spouse, you know, find that support. But just remember, you know, the hijab was given to us in the Quran. It is a blessing. Find yourself in it and don't try not to worry about what people think. And I know that's easier said than done, but I realised a long time ago that once I stop trying to please people, I will be able to finally please myself and be content within myself, and that I am. And trust me, there is nothing that can be bought in this world that gives you more satisfaction than that. I just want you all to know, however you are, I love you all for the sake of Allah. I make dua that Allah makes it easy on all of us, guides all of us, so that we can be a part of, you know, like a really strong, helpful community. That's the way we should be, and the way to start is starting within ourselves and trying to make ourselves the best version of ourselves. This is week 1 of this series. I think I'm only going to do one more week to see how it kind of goes and to see the feedback. Please do let me know of other topics I could give a helpful kind of reflection on, and inshallah I will see you all very soon. Salam.